Jeff Watson, represent the county commissioners.
Doug Walker at schools.
Jenny and Brittany, Mayor of Delphi.
Don Chocolate and Surveyor.
Jordan Wells, represent county Kingman.
Brad Farr, council.
Steve Harmon, legal counsel.
Cameron Yates, executive director.
Lauren Ralph, Office of Administrator.
Okay. Approval of minutes from the last meeting. Make any revisions, corrections? Do I have a motion to accept the minutes? I move to accept the minutes as written. Doug?
Second.
Again, second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Moving on. Cameron, we wanna give us a summary for this revised development plan for Delphi RDC?
I believe the city is here to speak on that topic today, so.
When you come to the podium, announce your name, who you're with and everything, then give us your.
We have a guest coming, but. My name is Joe Mayfield, I'm the president of the City Redevelopment Commission. And for a little history, you know that we're in the process of forming within the commission a residential TIF. And on our previous visit here, Jake Adams of EDC was presenting for both the county and the city. And the motion to approve the resolution was tabled because of concerns with the impact on the school corporations. And so for the city of Delphi, we have been in very productive conversations with the Delphi Community School Corporation. Kurt Schwarzkopf is supposed to be here this evening as president of the school board. And so we have been in very productive conversations. We are very close to the language that we both want for an MOU between the redevelopment commission and the school board. So for legislatively, this is one of the processes that we must go through, is to get the area plan commission to approve our amendment to the comprehensive plan. And we believe that the formation of the TIF and the allocation areas conform to the comprehensive plan, and that you could have approved those changes. So, and with the concern with the schools, that is mitigated somewhat with the city of Delphi, because we have been in very good negotiations with the school representatives, and are very close to having an MOU. So what we're doing tonight is asking you to approve. It says the plan amendment approved and adopted by the redevelopment commission conforms to the comprehensive plan that we have in the county. And so that's what we're asking this evening to do, is to approve that resolution. And then additionally, legislatively, the school board has the final say on the approval or disapproval of the residential TIF. Okay? So they have mechanisms in place to present their position and to negotiate, and then to either reject or accept the residential TIF formation. So your responsibility as the area plan is to determine whether the amendments are conform to the comprehensive plan, and we're asking you to do that tonight.
So did you guys, is it anything other than, so we wasn't sent anything, but we didn't get anything sent to the board, so.
Okay,
The
so-
amendments were, so.
So you haven't seen resolution
We have the one
21-1?
presented at the last month's meeting,
Right,
but
so
that's all they've had, so.
right, so that's the resolution that was tabled. So that,
How is this one?
there is.
It does not.
Okay, then here's my question. It was tabled because there's no MOU signed. There is still no MOU signed.
and I was in conversation with the school yesterday and today. Doesn't sound like they're near as objective about being as close as they think you are. Until it's in writing, this seat right here is not gonna be voted. I wanna see it in writing, MOU.
Yeah, so the area plan, is that your responsibility, right?
For protecting the schools.
The school has its own protection in place by having the final say
But I
on
think
the
we need to
formation
too.
of the residential, right?
Could you ask your attorney for, as far as what the responsibility of the area plan commission is?
Well, as far as it's our responsibility to make sure that what the plans do conform to what the, overall
The comprehensive.
The comprehensive
plan.
land use
plan is, yeah. I mean, it would be nice, is the Delphi School Board, are they going to have a representative? That might help.
And so he sent me an email at 4:30 to say that he could attend.
Okay.
So we were in conversation last night with some of the school board members and the superintendent. And so that's why we came tonight, because we had such a good conversation. And so unfortunately, on the agenda, I was early, and Kirk hasn't come, I don't want to speak for him directly, so.
So this is the only item that's on for discussion, so they really, it's the only time available.
That's all right.
Yeah.
So I don't know if the mayor would like to add any additional comments to my presentation.
I understand the sensitivity, but I think as I need a whirling mayor. I think, as Joe alluded to earlier, the school corporation is its own entity, and it has, through its board, the ability to accept or reject this plan. All that we're asking the area plan to do is its area of responsibility to determine whether or not our economic development plan changes conform to the Carroll County Comprehensive Land Use Plan. It's up to the school to make their determination as to whether they proceed with the residential TIF or not. It's my understanding that this body's responsibility is simply to review the amended language and determine whether that meets the comprehensive land use plan.
But we don't have the thing to look at.
It was in your packet last month, so.
It's what was the, sent last tip from last
So,
month.
Resolution 21-1 and the maps and the language and the naming of the allocation units in the resolution.
Can I ask a question? Why such a rush? If we're wanting to do this right, why can't we take time and explain, and is there, what's going on behind the
There's
scenes?
a time constraint.
That's why I'm wondering.
So, there is a residential parcels that are up for auction at the end of this month, at the end of October, excuse me. And while it's not crucial, we would like to have a residential TIF in hand at that time. And, you know, the timetable for that is tight, obviously. We hope to be at the school board meeting, and we were told last night that we would be on the agenda for the school board meeting on the 11th of October. So, you know, our next window of opportunity for the area plan commission would not be until actually the date of the auction, which is October 26th. So, since the two are, I understand that you feel that they are connected, but the responsibility of the plan commission is, you know, to approve, to accept or reject that this conforms to the comprehensive land use plan. It's really, with all due respect, not to determine for the school whether or not they have an acceptable arrangement, but the school corporation is, and its board is totally capable and very capable of managing will have the final decision.
I was gonna say, maybe that's where we need the clarification. I think they want reassurance that if we go ahead and say, yes, it does conform to what the overall comprehensive plan goals were, that's going to negate the ability of Delphi School to
They have the
put a
final
stop
say.
to it.
Their school board, will meet on the 11th, and, we will present an MOU and a resolution for the schools to review. If they reject that memorandum or the resolution, we're done. If they accept it, then we move forward. So, you know, we're trying to get the steps done in order as they normally would. And, you know, the adoption or approval by area plan, that the language in, the resolution, the language in, economic development plan meets the language that is expected in the comprehensive land use plan. So that is what, you know, what is before this body. And, you know, we know there have, you know, been, a lot of concern on behalf, from members of this group and others, about the, agreement to be reached between, the City of Delphi's redevelopment commission and the school. We're having productive meetings, they get the last say. They, at their board meeting, will say yes or no. So, I think it's the responsibility of the area plan to determine whether the language in our economic development plan meets that of the comprehensive land use plan.
Additionally to that, the legislative process, we still have to go before the city council, and we have to go before our own redevelopment commission one more time for the final approval. So we have the school board, the city council, the redevelopment commission again, before the final adoption of the residential.
So are we just talking about Delphi now?
Yes,
Correct.
Carroll County
We're
is,
okay.
Carroll County, but we're just focusing what's on in
right,
Delphi.
the Carroll
Okay.
County will be a separate,
Okay.
And so, obviously, in retrospect, we would have separated them before, but
Okay.
And those areas that they are potentially looking for development, they were shown on the slides.
Well,
at the
so
last-
those are in the,
Right.
those are attached in 21-1 of the three allocations, right?
do you have copies of that in your packet? I have another.
Everybody was sent one from last month's meeting, but I don't have any. I gave one to.
I have an extra copy here, if anyone would like to.
It's hard to see with the black and white.
This is just a point of order question. Would this have to be first removed from the table since it was tabled? Or how does it proceed?
Well, it's being put back on the agenda, that brings it back.
Okay.
Sure, it takes many hours for me to read the comprehensive plan, which I did read, I read it through 3 times. You take this and see if it fits that, and I'm sorry, I have another one. And I, you know, I don't feel like I can vote for tonight without looking at this plan, which was done how many years ago? Yeah, so it's, well, 13 years old, so which may change today, to change
It is
today,
the
we're
basis
talking about
on
needs
which-
to change anyhow.
Excuse me, but it is the basis on which all of you operate. as
Basis of
the
opinion
area
of the
plan
people
commission.
involved with it, that we need to move forward. It wasn't this group, it was people met and decided this is the comprehensive plan, we think we need to move forward, that's 13 years old.
And I reached out to Deb there about the comp plan on, and I sent some emails out on questions on if it need to be looked at and revisited, and didn't get any responses. But Deb Lazier's response was that there wasn't enough growth that's happened since that time to and this was her opinion, to really change anything within the comp plan at this point. So that's her expertise, but, so if that's something the board, wishes to look at, that's an email I sent out, I think last month, if that's something we need to look at revising, that's something, that's through the area plan commission, so.
Turkey's on the way.
But the current comprehensive land use plan is the basis on which this planning commission operates, is that not true?
That's correct. Even though our ordinance doesn't actually match comprehensive plan either, but. we try.
Do you want to sit down and tell us?
The only thing on the agenda, we can go to director report, or
After looking back through this, some of the areas that are highlighted, like for example, along the Hoosier Heartland on the south side of it. Why is there areas in there that we know for a fact will never be developed?
Concerning which allocation unit?
I'm looking at the Deal Farm.
Deal farm is not in this. You're talking about the Burnbury farm, that's former Bowen property. See, which,
So it's called the Burnbrae Allocation Unit, west of the Heartland.
This is not all deals.
that's the Carroll
this is the
County.
Carroll farm.
So that's not part of this.
The Delphi one is separate. The Delphi,
There's a 12, 21 day.
you got the same one.
Yeah, this aggregate's part of it.
It's Carroll.
Clarification's always one there too.
So, what the county representation, the units that they were presenting, they put those in the water zones, and those have been pulled from there.
They've given us today, they need to come to what the
Carroll County
overall
emergency
planning
planning
is
is
for
considering the city of properties that are,
and,
the city should, those were pulled from their residential care. So they're only living now at Burlington, Greenhurst, and Florida. And they're, we are here solely to talk about self-homelessness. And, this is for the growth terms of this, it is not sustainable. That's what we're discussing. That's all Carroll's.
That's why I don't have development.
So the units that we're referring to.
It's all last month.
But it's not in there.
We didn't get anything sent to us.
No, none of Delphi's is in our last month's packet.
It was sent via email. Jake Adams sent us, and then I sent to you guys.
But this is it, I mean, this is got the maps and stuff in it, but it didn't have Delphi. Yeah, there's no Delphi.
Yeah, I don't know, did the presentation and whatever he gave to the board that night, then the email, so.
This is everything that I got that now. Yeah. This is everything I have it, and there's Delphi's not in
There's
it.
stuff around.
That's what Jake Adams provided to us, yeah.
There's stuff around US aggregates and stuff out there.
It's what's Delphi. That's not part of it.
And that's what we were provided last month.
Don't I sign yours either?
Yeah, so if he sent it via email.
I printed a copy off.
Did you print what I sent from Jake?
South Bay. That's not
Sent
it.
it out to the county.
Oh, yeah, that's the one, that's the other.
And other than that, she had it here, it is.
So is anything on this,
anything that says.
anything on this map, is that part of it? This is everything.
There's some stuff over in yellow.
They all got it sent to me via email.
What the Carroll County RDC was requesting. So the Delphi,
Yeah, we're missing
Some
that.
like that, yeah, that's common, and we can help you, so.
because the maps are, basically, one small area close to the canal. This is the Burnbury
things.
This is all city of Delphi.
I wonder if you do in meetings.
This is the commercial, I think is the commercial tip. So, what are in the exhibit, are the allocation units for the city of Delphi.
I seen it when they were.
So which would include, an area, like now, the area that includes the Julius property, that's just west of, south of the school corporation. And then the area over here, which is just best known as the Fallon property. 975 acres. Is this border by the Australian right of way. Maybe the Hartman Valley and just, so that's the Delphi. Anything other than that is within the corporate limits of the city. And
So even this resolution is for the county too, then, right? Do we have?
That one is for the county, it's for the whole county.
We don't have anything from Delphi, we just have the county.
Carroll County Redevelopment Commission, we have. The resolution.
and this is, the copies of this as well.
But they don't have the copy of the resolution?
Not the one, it's just Delphi.
Three, right? We'll add one.
Did,
So, by tabling it on, I thought that would. Do you need?
see with me.
Again, two out.
Well, you guys are looking at this.
Page 58,
Yeah,
59,
sorry.
in the comprehensive
In the
plan.
comprehensive plan, there are 5 objectives, and one is to ensure land use patterns support cohesive and compact future development that is fiscally responsible. 2 is promote the growth and development of business and industry. 3 is improve the quality and increase the quantity of housing opportunities, which this really does. 4, promote community character, and 5, provide a safe, appropriate, and efficient transportation network. So, those are the things you have to say, is this going to meet these objectives within the comprehensive plan?
That's what we're doing with this tonight. We're, does it conform to the objective, what it is?
We don't have the power,
That's what it is, but
we
my,
don't have the power to say, no, you can't do it.
does it, I mean, it's not a matter of, I see where the board's coming from. The board feels caught, or I do too. I thought that we were under a good understanding from the last meeting that we would have an MOU in place by the time we get able to approve everything for all of Carroll County, all of City of Delphi. We all feel, I think I could speak for the board, we're all feeling a little bit rushed on this because we thought that we had a pretty good agreement in place in the last meeting with Jake, that we would have all this stuff in place. And now this is coming to us because there's some time sensitivity to it. I get all that. I get what you're saying about what we have to do here, but there's a lot that I think there's a lot of us that are uncomfortable with this. Being kind of brought at, but at the end of the day, I think we also maybe need to get over our uncomfortable and say, okay, does it conform with the objectives in the comprehensive plan? And it does. I mean, you look at, like she said, objective 3 is basically housing. So it does meet that objective. think we gotta look past those things. The school does have final say. Kurt just walked in, so I'd like for him to give his little, if you would like to talk about this to RDC, can you do that, Kurt? Yeah. Come on up here. Go ahead and announce your name and everything for the record and whatnot, please.
Kurt Schwarzkopf, I live actually over Camden. I am the president of the school board of Delphi. And just to kind of bring you up to where we're at, I guess, is what you're asking, and we were asked to be here too, is that we've been through a process of negotiation, I guess. That's how we put it. We understand that the final say-so is with the board, that we have the responsibility dictated to us by the state through a couple of whatever it is, but to see if this is what is good for the school. I think there's a reason why the state has done that. So the thing that we're looking at is this, is that we have been in communication meetings with the town of Delphi to the events that may or may not occur. We've also met actually with the county too, a meeting, which they pulled their project. It's not our project. We're the guidance of the TIF residents. At this point, I can't tell you that we have a hard MOU. We are coming to some understandings of what that language may be. You know, there's a lot of consideration in this. You know, the length of it, we can only go by with what other TIFs have done. You know, whether it's our own county, TIFs of Warsaw. So we've been in kind of communication with those types of people. But, you know, we are aggressively trying to make the MOU work. There is content that needs to be addressed. There is language that needs to definitely be addressed that we are trying to do right now. And I do appreciate the city stepping up and wanting to meet. That part, I will just say hands down, I couldn't ask for any better scenarios that way. I can't guarantee exactly when the MOU will be done. We have attorneys to look at these things, of course. But the big part is like we told both entities, you know, we don't think it's fair that the school bears any of the cost at all. This is not our project. And so it may take a little bit longer, the language and stuff. We're not directing our attorney to look at it until we get the meat and potatoes. We're getting there. That's one thing, and they're willing to get their attorneys to come up with language. So we're kind of sitting right there now. Can we have it done by October the 12th or 11th, whenever our board meeting is? I can't sit here and say yes or no. You guys that know me, I'm a straight shooter. So if you guys have any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer, you know, our thoughts any further, or maybe I've done questions from anybody? I'm used to sitting in a position over there, so I just want to make sure everybody has a chance. If that's all you need, then. But again, like I said, it's been really good to work so far with the city and their willingness. This has to be a win-win for both of us. Or I can tell you that the school will not go forward. But on the same token, I think that resolution can be found. And so, you know, my big thing is that no matter what action, you know, you guys take, the final say-so does rest with us. So, anything else?
Thank you.
So what you're saying is you guys are both working, mutually agreeing, not mutually agreeing, mutually working together.
We are working towards a solution.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, right now we are aggressively working. We have, you know, anytime there is a need for meeting, a matter of fact, if it's okay, I'll say it this way. The school has asked to meet with all entities various times. We've been kind of the aggressor to say, hey, what can we do to get to that point? But right now, it kind of rests in the hands of the language, the terms, what's right. So, yes, we are working towards a solution.
So then you are the time constraint or something for the area plan, it's just okay for the school board.
We have to, well, we have to let the, is it on the objectives and the comprehensive plan. That's it. That's it.
I'm gonna make a motion, if we're ready, are we still discussing?
Sounds like it.
Are we still discussing, Randy?
Do we have any other questions,
Any other?
comments, Jeff?
I have a question, what's the TIF district financial impact will have on the city if this happens? How much less revenue will the city of Delmarva have to take care of things with the TIF district's money being taken out and given to the RDC to make this thing work?
Again, this is a but-for kind of situation, Jeff, so
You don't know what's gonna
if
happen.
there is
how
no
many-
development, there is absolutely no change. So if there is development in any case, the underlying, whatever that basis said, at the beginning of the tax year, the assessed values, all of the underlying entities continue to receive that amount. So, what TIF collects is just the increase in assessed value from that base.
That always concerns me because here I'm paying, what you're basically doing is you're paying 3 years' bills for 3 years' bill of money. With inflation, I mean, you got less revenue to the city to pay the bill.
No, the underlying stays the same in terms of the assessed value and the taxes that are on that. So if that, so it's just the assessed value of the increment.
But if a house burns down, we get no money, and then the TIF district will rebuild, the TIF will get all of it. Correct?
No,
No,
no, it's the,
They would get whatever.
it's
above-
whatever's above the assessed value.
And that's for a 20-year period, correct?
it's
Up to 25.
up to 25. So it's, and the intent there is so, the residential TIF is a tool that the state put in place to enable communities like ours, which are mostly rural, to have the tools that they need to be able to entice residential development. If we have this tool, then the RDC, the Delphi Redevelopment Commission, could bond to put in the infrastructure that will attract these larger developments. And in the areas that we're looking at as part of the TIF, that infrastructure is not there presently. So the bond would be paid off in a period of time on each one of these allocation units. So if we started with the Canal District, as soon as the bonds are paid off on that, it gets released. That allocation unit gets released and it's no longer in the TIF. And all of that increase in the assessed value would go back to the tax base.
Like I said at the last meeting, TIF is basically another vehicle for getting financing.
Correct.
Instead of borrowing more money by the city, it's a way to raise more funds. It's another avenue for financing. And it gets paid off, and then it can't be rebonded
Correct.
over and over again.
A residential TIF cannot be rebonded.
It's one bond and one bond only to get the project started, basically. And then it pays out over, like you said, up to 25 years. Once it's paid off, it goes back into the city, right?
It goes back into the
Well,
underlying
underlying,
taxes.
yeah.
So the schools, the city, the
Library,
public library.
theater.
Yes.
With the addition of residences, we would have more kids in school, which would allow for more money coming from the state.
Correct, and ultimately, more income tax, more people in the stores, more everything.
County income tax, which was one of,
Right, can I speak? I'm a member of the redevelopment commission,
okay, go ahead.
and
We'll take, yep.
I just want to, I think there are two issues here tonight, and that may be part of the confusion. With what the school is working with the redevelopment commission is the creation of an RTIF. And the memo of understanding will only have bearing on the creation of the residential TIF district. What the proposal is before you tonight, and this was the motion that was made and passed at our last meeting, was for this concept plan for the Burn Brae Farm
That's not
to be
correct.
included
We're not
into
asking
the,
that.
That is not on the table, Gail. That has not
to
come.
be included into the comprehensive
No,
plan.
I'm sorry, that is not, they don't have that plan, it's not part of this
That's the
presentation.
motion that we made.
No,
At
this
some
motion was,
point to recommend,
I
this
was-
is not.
Okay, I was the secretary, I recorded it, and that's what was voted
and
on.
that's what
so I
happened
just
at
wanted
our
to-
meeting,
I'm
but
not
that's
gonna
not what
argue,
is
sorry.
happening at this meeting.
Our main thing is here, we gotta determine, does it conform with our comprehensive plan? And according to my eyes, it conforms to objective 3 on page 58. For promotion of housing. And then the ultimate say is, when it came from Kurt, it came from the city of Delphi, the city has, or the city, the school has the final say on the RTIF district. On there. And they're working together, which is a lot more than what other parties that have come before this board can say. We actually have two parties working together on this. And it sounds like we're gonna have something to go forward. So, I understand everybody's concern, I get it, I see all the sides here. But the bottom line is, we gotta determine, does this conform to the comprehensive plan? And in my eyes, it does.
It does 100%.
And in
that-
some
and
aspects astounding.
And that's all that we're voting on. It's basically up to the school board to determine the rest. Is that understood? Am I getting that right?
I don't
That's
mind
well,
voting
it will-
on it, but I'll go off to number 4 character. Can we do a better job of presenting this next time?
Yes.
Obviously. We made a mistake with the month, the previous month, we didn't
You
do
ain't
anything
getting
at all.
no muddier than, I don't know what.
And I agree, Kevin.
I think we got
completely agree.
confused because we didn't get
We didn't
anything
get
with
it right.
I
this.
did not get
But then
anything
it
sent this
said
month other
Hey,
than
that's
discussion of it.
Delphi
That's-
REC, so I thought, oh, this is
Yeah,
not the
well,
same.
And
Those
I
are
agree.
we apologize for that. We thought that
Retrospective.
all of our
changes that we'll make.
papers were presented to you last month, and that we were.
Basically, what I'm asking for is a motion, does this conform to the objectives of the comprehensive plan? That's the motion that
I make a motion that this resolution for the Delphi residential TIF does meet the comprehensive development plan we have in place, so we should pass it on.
well, we need, Kevin, you second. I'm gonna do a hand vote. All those in favor, raise your hand. 4. All those opposed, raise your hand. I got 3. So the motion carries.
Thank you very much.
So then you want to get it signed?
Yeah.
Do you need, how many copies do you need signed? We made 10 copies for each. You just want
There's
one?
a bunch of them right here.
You, how many will you need? Those,
Well, I can get everybody's signature, how many copies of that, and ask for copies that we want to do. We'll start with John.
We can tell this one, all the.
yeah.
Cameron?
Cameron?
Goes in the secretary.
It's just
And that's
Brad
Brad and.
and
Mr. President.
Director's report?
I'll give that back.
Yeah.
Real quickly, so. Couple things, I did go to the floodplain management class in Maryland.
Oh, it's Maryland.
It was good, and it was ironic that while I was there, I got the remnants of a hurricane, and we actually got flooded.
Oh, my goodness.
Got evacuated from our building with the creek going through the national training system, so it's kind of an interesting scenario, to say the least, but we were, for floodplain management. Yeah, so,
That's hands-on, right?
huh?
That's hands-on, right?
Yeah, it was definitely hands-on, because they moved us out of the building, and then just gonna change to where we stayed that night, and to say the least, it was chaos. Because we got 6 inches of rain in one night, so.
Wow.
And then I did attend the Indiana Floodplain Managers Conference in Evansville, at which I took the CFM exam for the first time. I haven't got the results back yet, but, it was quite good, so we'll see what happens. There's a lot of stuff on there that was, first time I've ever saw it, so I did address that with Doug, and, if I didn't pass, well, we'll try it again. But, so for the August report, we had 30 new homes. Total permits to date were 233. 19 site visits, compliance certificates were 5. We issued three new 911 addresses. We did a variance, special exception request last month. We did 2 rezones, obviously that was with you guys. We got one of the properties that we discussed last month. We made progress. Cindy did a great job of getting a letter out. They said we're gonna. We've reached out several times with no progress. The progress was they moved everything from the front yard to the backyard, because the front yard looks great. So now we're addressing the backyard, which, did you give us a copy of these on? So we're making progress. We've got a couple more properties we're getting ready to do the same scenario with, in hopes of getting them to where they need to be. Other than that, Gloria did a great job while I was gone of handling everything on her own. So she was teamed up with Donnie. Donnie stepped in to help. And the office has been nonstop for the past 2 months, just several phone calls, a lot of stuff in floodplain. So we've been very busy. So kudos to Gloria and Donnie for great work, and then also Cindy. Cindy stepped in, and all the questions that were needed answers, they all did a great job while I was gone. So we'll see what happens with the test, and I'll update you guys. So I do send out a lot of emails. If you're not getting them, we are having issues with Frontier once again. Day to day, our network is, it's glitching. So if you're not getting stuff, please tell me, because I send out several emails to keep you guys updated to when we do get here. The questions can come to me prior to the meeting. So if you're not getting a lot of emails, let me know, and then I'll have Randy, our IT guy, because it's not just area plan, it's the entire courthouse. So other than that, that's all I got.
So the email load seemed lighter this month, was it?
Well, I was gone for a couple of weeks, but yeah, I send out what I get, and in hopes that it gets reviewed. So, and we're making progress. Right now, in September, at the end of September, we had 37 new homes last year. At this point right now, we have 37. So we're right on schedule with the 2020 township report. So we're still chugging along through all this COVID stuff, and the price of lumber and everything skyrocketing. We're still building new homes. Each week, we're getting a lot of requests for information on where they can build, what they can build, so there's still a lot of confidence in the job. So that's all I got.
You pretty much gave my report, so. We've been working on some problem properties. I've got one in Delphi we're getting ready to start working on too, so. There's another one I've kind of targeted too, that we'll get these 2 going and see if we can do it without having to go to court, but we're ready to if we need. They'll be warned, you know, you've only got, as long as they continue to work with us and try to make progress, you know, we try to keep it out of court, but if they ignore us, we're not gonna ignore it then, so.
Anything else from board? Concern of the board, information from the board? Motion to adjourn? Second. Those in favor?